Path to Citizenship. Part 1. The Foundation of Freedom. The small study room was quiet, the sound of the door closing behind Diego Fernandez the only disturbance in the stillness. He had come here with a sense of purpose, knowing that today marked the beginning of a journey toward becoming a citizen. Across the table sat Evelyn Hughes, his citizenship tutor, a woman known for her meticulous and thorough approach. She had a stack of papers ready and was clearly prepared for this session. Diego knew this wouldn't be an easy path, but he was ready for the challenge. Evelyn looked up from her notes and nodded, signaling him to sit. As Diego took his place, Evelyn neatly organized the papers in front of her, creating an orderly workspace.
Diego, today we're going to cover 3 questions, each one addressing a different aspect of American history and governance. These questions aren't just about the answers. They're about understanding what they represent. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. Let's start with this. Who was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence? Question. Who was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence? A. George Washington. B. Benjamin Franklin. C. Thomas Jefferson.
Answer. C. Thomas Jefferson.
Correct. Jefferson was the primary author, though he had help from a committee that included John Adams and Benjamin Franklin. His words captured the aspirations of the colonies for independence, but what made his role so significant, do you think?
I believe it was because he wrote about ideas that still matter today: freedom, equality, and the rights of the people. He put into words what everyone was feeling but couldn't necessarily express themselves.
Exactly. Jefferson's writing wasn't just about declaring independence from Britain. It was about defining the values that the new nation would be built upon. These were principles like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, ideas that would become the foundation of American identity.
Evelyn paused for a moment, letting Diego consider the depth of those words. Then she moved on to the next question, shifting from the spirit of independence to the structure of governance.
Now, Diego, let's look at the Constitution. Why does it establish 3 branches of government? Question. Why does the Constitution have 3 branches of government? A. To prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful. B. To reduce the workload of each branch. C. To give more power to the president.
Answer. A. To prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful.
Yes, that's correct. The founders designed a system of checks and balances so that power would be shared and not concentrated. If one branch had too much power, what do you think would happen?
I think it would create a situation where that branch could control everything. By having 3 branches, each one can balance the others, preventing any one group from becoming too strong or making all the decisions.
That's exactly right. The three branches, the legislative, executive, and judicial, each have specific powers and responsibilities. They are intended to work together while also serving as a check on each other. The legislative branch makes the laws, the executive branch enforces them, and the judicial branch interprets them. This separation ensures that power isn't centralized and that the rights of the people are protected.
Diego absorbed the explanation, feeling a deeper appreciation for the complexities of the system. The founders had anticipated the dangers of unchecked power and had taken steps to guard against it. As Evelyn shuffled her papers, Diego felt as though he were seeing the inner workings of the country more clearly, understanding how each piece fit into the larger puzzle.
All right, Diego. Now we're moving into an area that touches on personal rights. Here's the next question. What does the Fifth Amendment protect you from? Question. What does the Fifth Amendment protect you from? A. Double jeopardy and self-incrimination. B. Cruel and unusual punishment. C. Unlawful searches and seizures.
Answer: A. Double jeopardy and self-incrimination.
Correct. The Fifth Amendment provides important protections for anyone accused of a crime. Double jeopardy means you can't be tried twice for the same offense, and self-incrimination means you have the right to remain silent so you don't have to testify against yourself. Why do you think these protections are essential?
I think they help make sure the legal system is fair. If someone could be tried over and over for the same crime, or forced to say things that could get them into trouble, they wouldn't really have a chance at justice. These protections give people some control over their own cases and prevent the system from being used against them unfairly.
Precisely. The Fifth Amendment is a cornerstone of fair treatment under the law. It prevents the government from exploiting legal loopholes to target individuals repeatedly. It also ensures that individuals have the right to a fair trial without being coerced into confessing to something they might not have done.
As Diego reflected on this, he thought about how the right to a fair trial could be the difference between freedom and imprisonment, and how vital it was that the system remained impartial. The weight of these concepts was not lost on him. Evelyn continued, wrapping up the session.
You've done well today, Diego. These ideas are more than just historical facts. They're protections that have been in place for generations, ensuring that every citizen is treated with fairness and respect. As you continue your studies, remember that understanding these principles is a key part of your journey to citizenship.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm beginning to see how these values are not just things to memorize. They're meant to protect and empower people. I'm ready to keep going.
That's the spirit. This is only the beginning, Diego. Each of these principles has shaped the country you're hoping to join. Soon, they'll be a part of you as well.
Diego walked outside, feeling the late afternoon sun warming his face. He was beginning to realize that this journey was about more than just passing a test. These lessons in citizenship were a gateway to understanding the values he would soon uphold as a member of this society. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, but he felt prepared to meet it head-on. As Diego steps out into the sunlight, Evelyn's words hang in the air, a challenge for everyone who seeks to understand the meaning of citizenship.
Now it's your turn. Citizenship isn't just about knowing the answers, it's about embracing the values they represent. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: why does the Constitution establish 3 branches of government? A. To prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful. B. To make government less efficient. C. To give more power to the president. Understanding the purpose behind this structure is essential to understanding the foundations of a democratic government. Choose wisely, because these principles are at the heart of what it means to be a citizen.
Path to Citizenship, Part 2, Understanding the Roots of Democracy. The next day, Diego Fernandez entered the study room with a determined look. Yesterday's session with Evelyn had been illuminating. He had learned about the fundamental concepts of independence, the balance of power, and the rights protected by the Constitution. Today, he was eager to deepen his understanding. Evelyn, his citizenship tutor, sat ready with a new set of questions, each one exploring another layer of American history and the responsibilities of citizenship. Evelyn greeted Diego with a nod, signaling the start of their session.
Good to see you back, Diego. Today, we'll dig deeper into the values that define this country. We'll cover a few more questions, each addressing different aspects of American democracy and history. Ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's start with a question about one of the core freedoms protected by the First Amendment. What is one right or freedom guaranteed by the First Amendment? Question: what is one right or freedom guaranteed by the First Amendment? A. The right to vote. B. Freedom of speech. C. The right to a fair trial.
Answer: B. Freedom of speech.
Correct. The First Amendment protects several freedoms, including speech, religion, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. Why do you think freedom of speech is such a vital right?
It lets people express their opinions and challenge the government. Without freedom of speech, people wouldn't be able to share ideas freely or criticize leaders. I think it's essential for holding the government accountable and for personal expression.
Exactly. Freedom of speech is at the heart of democracy. It ensures that people can share ideas, debate, and push for change without fear of punishment. It's fundamental to a society that values individual rights and collective progress.
Diego nodded, appreciating the power that came with freedom of speech. Evelyn moved on, shifting the focus to the duties that come with the rights of citizenship.
Now, let's talk about the responsibilities tied to citizenship. Here's a question about the duties that come with being a U.S. citizen. What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? Question: what is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? A. Serving in the military. B. Voting in federal elections. C. Obeying the law.
Answer: B. Voting in federal elections.
That's right. Voting in federal elections is a unique responsibility for citizens. It allows them to choose their leaders and shape the nation's policies. Why do you think voting is considered both a right and a duty?
Voting is how citizens make their voices heard. By voting, they help decide who leads the country and what direction it takes. It's a way to participate in democracy and ensure that the government reflects the will of the people.
Absolutely. Voting is a powerful way to influence the future. It's not only a way to express one's voice, but also a chance to shape the country's path. It's through voting that citizens can hold their leaders accountable and advocate for change.
Diego absorbed the importance of voting, realizing it was one of the most direct ways to impact the nation's direction. Evelyn prepared for the final question, taking a moment to emphasize the role of the Constitution itself.
Next, let's look at the document that established the framework for American governance. The U.S. Constitution is the foundation of the country's laws and protections. When was the U.S. Constitution written? Question: when was the U.S. Constitution written? A. 1776. B. 1787. C. 1791.
Answer: B. 1787.
Correct. The Constitution was drafted in 1787 and ratified in 1788. Why do you think it has endured for so long?
I think it's because the Constitution can be amended. It has a strong foundation, but it's flexible enough to change when necessary. That allows it to evolve as the country grows and faces new challenges.
Exactly. The Constitution's ability to adapt is one of its greatest strengths. The amendment process allows it to address new issues while maintaining the principles that the founders laid down. This flexibility has helped it remain relevant for over 2 centuries.
Diego felt a growing sense of respect for the Constitution. It was more than just a document. It was a living blueprint that had guided the country through countless challenges. Evelyn gathered her notes and looked at Diego.
You've done well today, Diego. These rights, responsibilities, and the Constitution itself are all part of what it means to be a U.S. citizen. Understanding them is essential, but so is embracing them. As you continue this journey, remember that citizenship is about more than just knowing these facts. It's about living these values.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm starting to see how all of these pieces fit together, and I'm ready to keep learning more.
Good. Citizenship is about active participation. These rights and responsibilities connect us to the past and guide us into the future. Keep up the good work.
Diego left the room, stepping into the warm afternoon sun. He felt more prepared and grounded than before. Each question and answer wasn't just a step toward passing a test. It was a step toward understanding the country he hoped to call his own. He realized that being a citizen meant embracing these principles as part of his identity, and he felt ready for the path ahead. As Diego walks into the sunlight, Evelyn's words echo, challenging all those who are on the journey to citizenship.
Now it's your turn. Citizenship is about understanding and upholding the values at the heart of democracy. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: what is one right guaranteed by the First Amendment? A. The right to vote. B. Freedom of speech. C. The right to bear arms. The choices reflect the principles that define a free society. Understanding these rights is crucial to embracing what it means to be a part of this nation. Choose wisely, as these answers are more than facts. They're fundamental to the journey of citizenship.
Path to Citizenship, Part 3, Forging a New Future. Diego returned to the study room for his third session, a renewed sense of purpose guiding his steps. Over the past 2 sessions, he had explored the foundations of freedom, the importance of checks and balances, and the responsibilities tied to citizenship. Today, he was eager to delve even further into the history and ideals that shaped the nation he hoped to call his own. Evelyn awaited him, as usual, with a new set of questions. She was ready to explore the themes of change, resilience, and growth that defined the American experience. Evelyn gave him a nod as he sat down, signaling the beginning of their session.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to examine some more pieces of American history, each tied to the values of perseverance and growth. These questions will give us a window into how the nation has evolved over time. Ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about one of the nation's most significant speeches. Who delivered the Gettysburg Address? Question: who delivered the Gettysburg Address? A. George Washington. B. Abraham Lincoln. C. Thomas Jefferson.
Answer: B. Abraham Lincoln.
Correct. President Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address in 1863 during the Civil War. It was a short speech, but it had a powerful impact. Why do you think this speech was so significant at that time?
I think it was because Lincoln was reminding people of the country's founding principles, that everyone is equal and that the country must come together to survive. It was a way to honor the soldiers who had died and to inspire people to keep fighting for unity.
Absolutely. The Gettysburg Address was a reminder that the United States was founded on the idea of equality and that the nation had to honor that ideal. Even in the face of division, Lincoln's words helped to unify a fractured nation by reaffirming the commitment to a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Diego considered the power of Lincoln's words, imagining the weight they must have carried during a time of immense turmoil. Evelyn shifted to the next question, focusing on the steps taken to rebuild the nation after the Civil War.
Now, Let's move on to an event that came after the Civil War as the country worked to rebuild itself. What was the purpose of the Emancipation Proclamation? Question: what was the purpose of the Emancipation Proclamation? A. To end segregation in public schools. B. To free slaves in the Confederate States. C. To provide voting rights to all citizens.
Answer: B. To free slaves in the Confederate States.
Correct. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by Lincoln in 1863, declared that all slaves in the Confederate States were to be set free. Why do you think this was an important step, even though it didn't end slavery everywhere at that time?
I think it was a symbol of hope and a promise of change. It showed that the government was committed to ending slavery, at least in part, and it gave enslaved people in the South a reason to believe that freedom could be possible.
Exactly. The Emancipation Proclamation was a crucial step toward abolishing slavery nationwide. While it only applied to the Confederate States, it set the stage for the eventual end of slavery through the 13th Amendment. It was a bold declaration that the nation could no longer tolerate the institution of slavery.
Diego felt the weight of this turning point in history. He thought about how the Emancipation Proclamation represented both a promise and a challenge, a call for the country to live up to its ideals. Evelyn continued, turning her attention to another document that furthered the cause of equality.
For our last question today, let's discuss voting rights, which are critical to democracy. What was the main purpose of the 19th Amendment? Question: what was the main purpose of the 19th Amendment? A. To grant African Americans the right to vote. B. To lower the voting age to 18. C. To grant women the right to vote.
Answer: C. To grant women the right to vote.
Correct. The 19th Amendment, ratified in 1920, granted women the right to vote after decades of activism and struggle by the suffragists. Why do you think it took so long for women to gain this right?
It seems like women's rights were overlooked for a long time. Society didn't view women as equal to men, especially when it came to politics. But the suffragists showed that they deserved an equal voice in the government and wouldn't give up until they had it.
Absolutely. The fight for women's suffrage was a long struggle because of deeply rooted social and cultural beliefs. But the suffragists' persistence led to a significant change, expanding the democratic process and ensuring that half of the population could no longer be excluded. The 19th Amendment was a vital step toward equality and inclusion in American society.
As the session wrapped up, Diego felt a new appreciation for the resilience and perseverance that had shaped the nation. He realized that each step forward was hard-fought, but necessary for the country to fulfill its promise of freedom and equality. Evelyn gathered her papers, offering Diego a final reflection.
You've done well today, Diego. Each of these moments, the Gettysburg Address, the Emancipation Proclamation, and the 19th Amendment, are examples of the nation's ongoing struggle to fulfill its ideals. Citizenship isn't just about knowing these facts. It's about understanding how they've shaped the present and how they can guide the future.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm beginning to see how these struggles for freedom and equality have built the country into what it is today. I'm excited to continue learning.
Good. Remember, citizenship is about both rights and responsibilities. It's about living out the values of freedom, equality, and justice. I look forward to seeing where this journey takes you next.
Diego left the study room, stepping out into the fresh air. As he walked, he felt a new sense of connection to the past and the people who had fought to expand the nation's promise. He realized that by becoming a citizen, he was also joining a tradition of resilience and change. He felt ready to carry those ideals forward. As Diego reflects on the lessons of the day, Evelyn's words resonate for everyone who is considering what it means to be a citizen.
Now it's your turn. Citizenship isn't just about understanding history. It's about seeing how those moments continue to impact us today. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience. The 19th Amendment marked a significant shift in American democracy. Which groups' rights were directly expanded through this amendment, and what does this change signify for the evolution of citizenship? A. Voting rights for African Americans. B. Lowering the voting age to 18. C. Voting rights for women. Understanding who gained new rights under the 19th Amendment reveals much about the growth of American democracy. Reflect on how this change has contributed to the ongoing journey toward equality.
Path to Citizenship, Part 4, The Challenges of Governance. Diego walked into the study room for his fourth session, feeling increasingly confident. Over the past sessions, he had explored themes of freedom, equality, and resilience, each step bringing him closer to understanding the essence of American democracy. Evelyn sat ready, with a set of new questions that would deepen his understanding of how governance works. He knew today's lesson would explore the complexities and challenges faced by the government in upholding the nation's ideals. Evelyn glanced up as he entered, motioning for him to take his seat.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to discuss some of the challenges that come with governance. These questions will touch on how the government operates and adapts to meet the needs of the people. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. Let's begin with a question about how laws are made in the United States. Who has the power to make federal laws? Question: Who has the power to make federal laws? A. The President. B. Congress. C. The Supreme Court.
Answer: B. Congress.
Correct. Congress is responsible for making federal laws. It's made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and each has a role in the process of passing legislation. Why do you think it's structured this way?
I think it's to make sure that laws are carefully considered before they're passed. With two parts of Congress involved, it reduces the chances of hasty decisions and ensures that different perspectives are heard.
Exactly. The bicameral structure of Congress allows for thorough debate and review, which helps ensure that laws are balanced and well considered. It also reflects the interests of both the people, through the House of Representatives, and the states, through the Senate.
Diego reflected on the role of Congress, appreciating the effort involved in balancing different interests. Evelyn moved on to a question that focused on one of the checks on legislative power.
Let's explore another aspect of governance. Once Congress passes a bill, it doesn't automatically become law. What can the president do if he doesn't agree with a bill? Question: what can the president do if he doesn't agree with a bill passed by Congress? A. Rewrite the bill. B. Veto the bill. C. Ignore the bill.
Answer B. Veto the bill.
Correct. The president can veto a bill if he doesn't agree with it, which sends it back to Congress. Why do you think the president has this power?
It's a way to prevent Congress from having too much power. If the president doesn't agree with a bill, he can stop it, but Congress can still override the veto if there's enough support. It keeps the branches balanced.
Precisely. The veto power is a crucial part of the system of checks and balances. It allows the president to influence legislation, but it also gives Congress the opportunity to override the veto if there's a strong enough consensus. This system helps maintain a balance between the legislative and executive branches.
Diego thought about how the president's veto power added a layer of complexity to the lawmaking process, ensuring that no single branch could dominate the others. Evelyn continued, preparing to discuss another essential aspect of governance that ensures accountability.
For our final question today, let's discuss the process for addressing serious misconduct by a public official. What is impeachment? Question: what is impeachment? A. The process of removing a Supreme Court justice. B. The process of charging a public official with misconduct. C. The process of electing a new president.
Answer B. The process of charging a public official with misconduct.
That's correct. Impeachment is the process by which a public official, including the president, can be charged with serious misconduct. Why do you think this process is necessary?
It keeps officials accountable. If someone in power abuses their position, impeachment allows them to be held responsible. It's a way to make sure that leaders don't get away with wrongdoing just because they're in high positions.
Absolutely. Impeachment is an essential mechanism for maintaining accountability in government. It allows the legislative branch to check the executive and judicial branches if any high-ranking officials are found to be violating the law or abusing their power. This process is vital to upholding trust in public institutions.
As they finished, Diego felt a deeper understanding of the complexities involved in governing a nation. He realized that the checks and balances were not just abstract ideas. They were practical tools for ensuring accountability and fairness. Evelyn gathered her notes, offering Diego some final reflections.
You've done well today, Diego. These aspects of governance, the role of Congress, the president's veto, and the process of impeachment are all part of what keeps the government accountable and balanced. Citizenship isn't just about understanding your rights. It's also about understanding how the government works to protect those rights.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm starting to see how each branch of government has a role in keeping everything in balance. It feels like every part of the system is designed to protect democracy.
That's right. The system isn't perfect, but it's designed to adapt and correct itself. Knowing how these processes work will help you participate more fully as a citizen. I look forward to our next session.
Diego left the study room, stepping into the late afternoon sunlight. He felt a growing sense of connection to the processes and principles that kept the government functioning. Each session was more than just a lesson. It was a step toward understanding how he could contribute to this system as a future citizen. As Diego contemplates the responsibilities of a citizen in a democratic system, Evelyn's lessons resonate not just with him, but with everyone invested in the principles of democracy.
Now it's your turn. Accountability is a cornerstone of governance. Here's a question for you to consider. Question for the audience: what is the purpose of the impeachment process in the United States government? A. To elect a new president. B. To charge a public official with misconduct. C. To remove a Supreme Court justice. Understanding this process is key to knowing how government officials are held accountable. Your answer reflects your grasp of these vital checks on power.
Path to Citizenship, Part 5, Safeguarding Rights and Responsibilities.
Diego walked into the study room for his fifth session with Evelyn, feeling more confident with each step. Over the past sessions, he had learned about the foundations of American democracy, the balance of power, and the principles that kept the government accountable. Today, he was eager to explore the rights and responsibilities that safeguarded those freedoms, ensuring that each citizen could contribute to the country's democratic ideals. Evelyn was ready, as always, with a new set of questions. Evelyn looked up, signaling for Diego to take his seat. As he settled in, she began.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to discuss some of the rights and responsibilities that come with being a citizen. These questions will explore how these principles are protected and maintained. Ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready.
Good. Let's start with a question about the Bill of Rights. What does the Fourth Amendment protect citizens against? Question: what does the Fourth Amendment protect citizens against? A. Cruel and unusual punishment. B. Unreasonable searches and seizures. C. Double jeopardy.
Answer B. Unreasonable searches and seizures.
Correct. The Fourth Amendment protects people's privacy by requiring a warrant for searches and seizures. Why do you think this protection is so important?
I think it's because it protects personal privacy and freedom. If the government could search people's homes without a reason, they could abuse that power. It ensures that people are safe in their homes and that their belongings are protected.
Exactly. The Fourth Amendment serves as a safeguard against government intrusion. It's a reminder that citizens have rights that must be respected, and that even the government must follow due process when it comes to people's personal lives and property.
Diego considered the significance of this right. He could see how it contributed to a sense of security and trust between citizens and their government. Evelyn moved on, focusing on the concept of due process and how it was upheld in the justice system.
Next, let's talk about a related protection in the justice system. What is the purpose of the Sixth Amendment? Question: what is the purpose of the Sixth Amendment? A. To ensure the right to a fair and speedy trial. B. To guarantee the right to bear arms. C. To protect freedom of speech.
Answer: A. To ensure the right to a fair and speedy trial.
Correct. The Sixth Amendment guarantees that anyone accused of a crime has the right to a prompt and fair trial. Why do you think this is essential for justice?
Because if people had to wait a long time for a trial, they might stay in jail without being proven guilty. And if the trial isn't fair, they might not get a chance to defend themselves properly. It's a way to make sure the system doesn't take advantage of anyone.
Absolutely. The Sixth Amendment is designed to protect individuals from unfair treatment by the legal system. It ensures that trials are conducted in a timely manner and that the accused have the opportunity to defend themselves with legal representation. This is fundamental to maintaining trust in the judicial system.
Diego nodded, reflecting on how the Sixth Amendment safeguarded fairness in the legal process. Evelyn shifted gears, turning to a question about another right crucial for participation in democracy.
Now, let's move to a right that's directly tied to civic engagement. What does the 15th Amendment guarantee? Question: what does the 15th Amendment guarantee? A. The right to vote regardless of race. B. The right to free speech. C. The right to a trial by jury.
Answer: A. The right to vote regardless of race.
Correct. The 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, ensured that voting rights could not be denied based on race. Why do you think this amendment was necessary at that time?
Because even after the Civil War, African Americans were still being denied rights, especially in the South. This amendment was needed to protect their right to vote and to try to make sure that everyone had a say in the government.
Exactly. The 15th Amendment was a significant step toward equality, aimed at eliminating racial discrimination in voting. While it didn't end all forms of discrimination, it laid the groundwork for further progress. It reflects the ongoing struggle to make sure that all citizens can participate in the democratic process.
As they wrapped up, Diego felt a growing appreciation for the rights and responsibilities that defined American citizenship. He understood that these protections were not just words on paper, they were commitments to a fair and inclusive society. Evelyn closed her notebook, giving him a moment to reflect on their conversation.
You've done well today, Diego. These rights, the protections against unreasonable searches, the right to a fair trial, and the guarantee of voting rights, are all part of what makes democracy work. Citizenship involves knowing and respecting these rights, as well as the responsibilities that come with them.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm realizing how these rights aren't just for individuals, they're for everyone, and they make sure that everyone is treated fairly. I'm glad to be learning about them.
Good. Remember, these rights are only as strong as the commitment of the people to uphold them. It's a shared responsibility. As you continue your journey, keep in mind that being a citizen means protecting these rights for yourself and for others.
As Diego left the room, he felt a new sense of purpose. He wasn't just learning for himself. He was learning to become part of a community that valued fairness, equality, and justice. Each session brought him closer to embracing the role of a citizen, ready to safeguard these principles for future generations. As Diego delves into the importance of rights and responsibilities, Evelyn's reflections invite all citizens to consider the principles that safeguard their freedoms.
Now it's your turn. The freedoms protected by the Constitution are balanced by responsibilities that uphold them. Here's a question for you to think about. Question for the audience: which amendment in the Bill of Rights protects the freedom of speech, religion, and the press? A. First Amendment. B. Fourth Amendment. C. 10th Amendment. These freedoms are fundamental to an open and democratic society. Understanding them helps ensure that each citizen can actively contribute to the nation's ideals.
Path to Citizenship, Part 6, The American Identity and National Symbols.
Diego arrived for his 6th session with Evelyn, carrying the insights he'd gained from previous lessons. He had learned about the importance of rights, responsibilities, and the checks and balances that protected democracy. Today, Evelyn planned to guide him through the symbols and ideas that shape American identity, connecting him even more deeply to the cultural fabric of the country he hoped to call home. Evelyn was ready, as always, with her notes organized. She looked up and nodded as Diego took his seat, setting the tone for the day's discussion.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to focus on the symbols and ideals that represent American identity. These questions will explore how the country expresses its values and history through symbols, anthems, and pledges. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about a symbol that represents the nation's history and values. Why does the flag of the United States have 13 stripes? Question: why does the flag of the United States have 13 stripes? A. To represent the 13 original colonies. B. To honor the first 13 presidents. C. To symbolize 13 major wars.
Answer A. To represent the 13 original colonies.
Correct. The 13 stripes represent the original colonies that declared independence from Britain. Why do you think it's important to remember the original colonies?
I think it's because they were the foundation of the country. The colonies took the first steps toward independence, and their decision to unite shaped everything that came after. It's a reminder of where the country started.
Exactly. The stripes on the flag symbolize the beginning of the United States and the courage of those first colonies to come together. It serves as a reminder of the unity and resilience that continue to define the nation.
Diego appreciated the meaning behind the flag, understanding that each symbol carried a piece of history. Evelyn moved on, shifting from the flag to a song that had come to embody the spirit of the nation.
Now, let's discuss the national anthem. What is the title of the national anthem of the United States? Question: What is the title of the national anthem of the United States? A. America the Beautiful. B. The Star-Spangled Banner. C. God Bless America.
Answer B. The Star-Spangled Banner.
That's right. The Star-Spangled Banner became the national anthem in 1931, but it was written during the War of 1812. Do you know why it's important for people to understand the anthem's origins?
It shows how people felt about their country during a time of conflict. The anthem is about a moment when the country was being tested, and it represents hope and resilience. Understanding that history makes the anthem more meaningful.
Absolutely. The Star-Spangled Banner reflects the nation's endurance during difficult times. It's not just a song. It's a reminder of the strength and hope that have carried the United States through challenging periods. It connects the present with the past, reminding citizens of the values they uphold.
Diego imagined the anthem playing at events he'd attended, now with a new understanding of its origins and meaning. Evelyn continued, moving on to a pledge that is recited by Americans as a commitment to the country and its ideals.
For our final question today, let's discuss the Pledge of Allegiance. To what do people pledge allegiance in the Pledge of Allegiance? Question: To what do people pledge allegiance in the Pledge of Allegiance? A. The President. B. The United States Constitution. C. The flag of the United States.
Answer C. The flag of the United States.
Correct. The Pledge of Allegiance is a vow of loyalty to the flag, which represents the country and its values. Why do you think reciting the pledge is a meaningful act for Americans?
It's a way to show respect for the country and a reminder of the unity that the flag represents. The pledge is a way for people to reaffirm their commitment to the country and to the principles it stands for.
Exactly. The pledge is an expression of loyalty, not just to a piece of cloth, but to the ideals of liberty and justice for all. It's a way for citizens to publicly acknowledge their role in upholding those values every time they recite it.
As they concluded the session, Diego felt a deeper connection to the symbols that represented American identity. He realized that they were more than just images or words. They were expressions of the country's values, woven into the daily lives of its people. Evelyn put away her notes, giving Diego a moment to reflect on their discussion.
You've done well today, Diego. The flag, the anthem, and the pledge, each of these reflects the values that unite Americans. Understanding them helps you see how the country expresses its identity and why those symbols are important to so many people.
Thank you, Miss Hughes. I feel like I understand more about what these symbols mean and how they reflect the history and ideals of the country. I'm starting to feel more connected to them.
Good. These symbols are a way for Americans to remind themselves of their shared values and history. As you continue on this journey, remember that being a citizen is also about honoring these symbols and the ideals they represent.
Diego stepped outside, feeling the weight of the flag, anthem, and pledge settle into his heart. He realized that becoming a citizen wasn't just about passing a test. It was about understanding the identity of the country he hoped to join and the values that its symbols represented. He walked away with a newfound respect for the symbols he had seen so often, now understanding their deeper meanings. As Diego reflects on the symbols that define American identity, Evelyn's words echo beyond the room, inviting everyone to consider the significance of these icons.
Now it's your turn. Understanding national symbols helps us appreciate the values they represent. Here's a question for you to ponder. Question for the audience: what do the stars on the flag of the United States represent? A. The first states to join the Union. B. The 50 states of the United States. C. Important battles in American history. These symbols carry meaning that goes beyond their appearance, embodying the nation's unity and diversity. Reflect on your answer as it reveals a key part of the American identity.
Path to Citizenship, Part 7. The Structure of the Federal Government.
When Diego entered the study room for his 7th session, he felt a growing sense of pride and purpose. Over the last few weeks, he had explored the symbols, values, and key moments in American history that shaped the nation. Today, he knew that Evelyn would guide him through the structure of the federal government, helping him understand how the system functioned day to day. Each lesson was bringing him closer to his goal, and he was eager to learn more about how the government operated. Evelyn greeted him as he took his seat, a fresh set of questions in front of her.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to explore the structure of the federal government. Understanding how it functions will help you see how decisions are made and who is responsible for different roles. Are you ready to dive in?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's begin with a question about the branches of government. What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? Question: what are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? A. The House of Representatives and the Senate. B. The Supreme Court and the Senate. C. The President and the House of Representatives.
Answer: A. The House of Representatives and the Senate.
Correct. Congress is divided into the House of Representatives and the Senate. Each plays a unique role in the legislative process. Why do you think it's divided into two parts?
I think it's to balance the interests of different states and the people. The House represents the population directly, while the Senate gives each state an equal say, no matter its size. This way, both the people and the states have a voice in making laws.
Exactly. This structure ensures that both the population and the states are represented fairly. The House reflects the will of the people based on population, while the Senate ensures that all states have equal representation, helping to balance power in Congress.
Diego could see the wisdom in this setup, appreciating how it balanced both large and small states. Evelyn moved on, ready to discuss the executive branch and its responsibilities.
Now, let's turn to the executive branch. What is the primary role of the President of the United States? Question: What is the primary role of the President of the United States? A. To make laws. B. To interpret laws. C. To enforce laws.
Answer: C. To enforce laws.
That's correct. The President's primary role is to enforce the laws passed by Congress. Why do you think it's important for the President to focus on enforcing laws rather than making them?
If the President could make laws, there would be too much power in one person's hands. By enforcing laws instead, the President's job is to carry out the decisions made by Congress. It keeps the branches of government separate and prevents any one person from having too much control.
Absolutely. The President's role is designed to ensure that laws are implemented, not created. By keeping these responsibilities separate, the system maintains a balance of power, with Congress making the laws and the President ensuring they are carried out.
Diego reflected on how the roles of Congress and the President were distinct but interconnected. He understood that the separation of powers was a crucial safeguard for democracy. Evelyn moved on to the final question, addressing the role of the judicial branch.
Now, let's discuss the role of the judicial branch. What is the highest court in the United States? Question: What is the highest court in the United States? A. The Court of Appeals. B. The Supreme Court. C. The Federal District Court.
Answer: B. The Supreme Court.
Correct. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and it has the ultimate authority on interpreting the Constitution. Why do you think it's important for there to be a court with this kind of authority?
The Supreme Court helps ensure that laws are fair and follow the Constitution. By interpreting the laws, the court makes sure that they protect people's rights and don't overstep the limits set by the Constitution. It acts as a final check on both Congress and the President.
Exactly. The Supreme Court serves as the ultimate guardian of the Constitution. It ensures that the laws and actions of the government align with constitutional principles. This provides a vital check on the legislative and executive branches, helping to uphold the rule of law.
As the session concluded, Diego felt a clearer understanding of how the federal government operated. He saw how the branches worked together, each with its own role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the people. Evelyn gathered her notes and offered Diego some final thoughts.
You've done well today, Diego. Understanding the roles of Congress, the President, and the Supreme Court is essential to appreciating how the government functions. Each branch has a unique role, but together they create a system that protects democracy and ensures accountability.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm starting to see how each branch supports the others, making sure that power isn't concentrated in any one place. It's an impressive system.
It is. This separation of powers is one of the strengths of American democracy. By knowing how each branch works, you're preparing yourself to be an informed and active citizen. Keep it up.
Diego stepped out into the warm afternoon, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He now understood that the government wasn't just a distant institution. It was a system built to serve and protect its people. Each branch had a role to play, and as a future citizen, he had a part to play too, in ensuring those branches remained balanced and fair. As Diego learns about the roles and responsibilities within the federal government, Evelyn's insights resonate beyond their conversation, encouraging others to reflect on the structure of governance.
Now it's your turn. Each branch of the government has a distinct role to play, ensuring that power is balanced. Here's a question for you to consider. Question for the audience: which branch of the U.S. government has the power to declare laws unconstitutional? A. The executive branch. B. The legislative branch. C. The judicial branch. Understanding the responsibilities of each branch is key to grasping how the system of checks and balances operates. Reflect on your answer, as it reveals a fundamental aspect of how power is regulated within the government.
Path to Citizenship. Part 8. Rights of the People and the Role of Amendments. As Diego entered the study room for his 8th session with Evelyn, he felt a growing sense of understanding and respect for the American government. Each session had taught him more about the nation's structure, symbols, and the rights that shaped American identity. Today, he knew that Evelyn would guide him through the amendments, those parts of the Constitution that protected the rights of individuals and adjusted to changing times. He was eager to learn how amendments had transformed the Constitution into a living document. Evelyn greeted him as he took his seat, a fresh set of questions ready for their session.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we'll explore the role of amendments in protecting citizens' rights and how they have adapted to changing needs. Understanding these amendments helps you see how the Constitution stays relevant. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's start with a question about one of the most famous amendments. What does the First Amendment protect? Question: What does the First Amendment protect? A. The right to bear arms. B. The right to a fair trial. C. Freedoms of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition.
Answer: C. Freedoms of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition.
Correct. The First Amendment protects 5 fundamental freedoms, and it's crucial to the foundation of American democracy. Why do you think these specific freedoms were included in the First Amendment?
Because they are essential for a free society. People need to be able to speak their minds, gather together, and challenge the government. These freedoms help keep the government accountable and allow people to express themselves and their beliefs.
Exactly. The First Amendment is designed to protect individual rights while promoting an open, democratic society. It ensures that citizens have a voice and can seek change when needed, which is vital for a healthy democracy.
Diego thought about how each freedom in the First Amendment supported the others, creating a foundation of openness and dialogue. Evelyn moved on to discuss another significant amendment that had expanded rights over time.
Now, let's look at another amendment that brought about important change. What did the 24th Amendment achieve? Question: What did the 24th Amendment achieve? A. It abolished poll taxes in federal elections. B. It granted women the right to vote. C. It lowered the voting age to 18.
Answer: A. It abolished poll taxes in federal elections.
Correct. The 24th Amendment, ratified in 1964, abolished poll taxes, which were often used to prevent African Americans and low-income citizens from voting. Why do you think eliminating poll taxes was important?
Poll taxes made it harder for people to vote, especially those who couldn't afford it. By eliminating them, the amendment ensured that more people had equal access to voting, regardless of their financial situation. It made voting fairer.
Absolutely. The 24th Amendment was a significant step in making voting more accessible and preventing discrimination. It helped ensure that all citizens could exercise their right to vote, which is fundamental to democracy.
Diego felt a deeper appreciation for how amendments like the 24th had made the country more inclusive over time. Evelyn continued, turning to a more recent amendment that had affected young citizens.
Now, for our last question, let's discuss an amendment that expanded voting rights to younger Americans. What did the 26th Amendment accomplish? Question: What did the 26th Amendment accomplish? A. It lowered the voting age to 18. B. It granted voting rights to non-citizens. C. It allowed states to set their own voting ages.
Answer: A. It lowered the voting age to 18.
Correct. The 26th Amendment, ratified in 1971, lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. Why do you think it was important to lower the voting age at that time?
Because young people were being drafted into the military to fight in wars, but they couldn't vote. Lowering the voting age gave them a say in the government decisions that affected them, especially regarding war and other major issues.
Exactly. The 26th Amendment recognized that if young people were old enough to serve in the military, they should also have the right to vote. It extended the democratic process to millions of young Americans, ensuring their voices could be heard on decisions that impacted their lives.
As they concluded, Diego felt a renewed respect for the adaptability of the Constitution. He understood that amendments allowed it to grow with the nation, ensuring that rights could be expanded and protected over time. Evelyn closed her notebook, giving him a final reflection on their discussion.
You've done well today, Diego. The First, 24th, and 26th Amendments all reflect the country's commitment to expanding and protecting rights. The Constitution is a living document shaped by the people and for the people. Understanding these amendments helps you see how it adapts to ensure justice and equality.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm realizing how important it is that the Constitution can change and grow. It makes me feel hopeful about being part of a country that can improve over time.
Exactly. Citizenship means both upholding these rights and participating in the process that shapes them. You're gaining the knowledge you need to be an active part of this democracy. Keep learning and stay engaged.
As Diego left the room, he felt a deeper connection to the Constitution and the amendments that had shaped it. He understood that citizenship wasn't just about the rights he would enjoy. It was about the responsibilities he would carry to protect and expand those rights for future generations. With each session, he was becoming more ready to embrace his role in this evolving democracy. As Diego reflects on the significance of amendments, Evelyn's insights extend beyond their discussion, encouraging others to consider how amendments have shaped and expanded rights over time.
Now it's your turn. The amendments reflect our commitment to adapting and protecting the rights of all citizens. Here's a question for you to consider. Question for the audience: which amendment abolished slavery in the United States? A. The 13th Amendment. B. The 15th Amendment. C. The 19th Amendment. Reflect on your answer, as it represents a pivotal moment in the nation's history and a profound step toward equality and justice.
Path to Citizenship. Part 9. The American Economy and Government's Role. Diego returned for his 9th session with Evelyn, feeling increasingly at home in their weekly discussions. So far, he had explored the values, symbols, and rights that shaped American democracy. Today, Evelyn planned to introduce him to the American economy and the government's role within it. Understanding these principles would give Diego insight into how the economy functioned and how citizens interacted with it, both as participants and as voters. Evelyn looked up as he entered, offering a warm smile before beginning their lesson.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to discuss the American economy and how the government interacts with it. Understanding this will help you see how economic policies impact citizens and how those policies are shaped. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. Let's start with a question about a fundamental aspect of the American economy. What is the term for an economy where businesses are privately owned and operated for profit? Question: what is the term for an economy where businesses are privately owned and operated for profit? A. Socialism. B. Capitalism. C. Communism.
Answer: B. Capitalism.
Correct. The United States has a capitalist economy, which means that private individuals and businesses own the resources and operate for profit. Why do you think this system is significant?
It encourages people to create businesses and innovate, since they can make a profit from their efforts. It also gives people the freedom to choose where they work and what they buy. It's about individual choice and opportunity.
Exactly. In a capitalist system, private ownership and profit motive drive innovation and economic growth. It's based on the idea that individuals should have the freedom to pursue their own economic interests, which contributes to the overall prosperity of society.
Diego considered how the principles of capitalism shaped the choices and opportunities available to people in the United States. Evelyn moved on, discussing the government's role in regulating and supporting the economy.
Now, let's look at the role of the government in the economy. What is one way the federal government supports the economy? Question: what is one way the federal government supports the economy? A. By setting prices for goods and services. B. By issuing patents to protect inventors. C. By owning all businesses.
Answer: B. By issuing patents to protect inventors.
That's right. The government issues patents to protect inventors' rights, encouraging innovation by ensuring that creators can profit from their work. Why do you think patents are important in a capitalist economy?
Patents give inventors time to develop and market their ideas without competition. This means they can make money from their inventions, which encourages people to invest time and resources into creating new products. It keeps innovation moving forward.
Exactly. Patents incentivize innovation by granting inventors exclusive rights to their creations for a period of time. This helps foster a culture of innovation, which is essential for economic growth and competitiveness in a capitalist system.
Diego nodded, reflecting on how patents played a role in encouraging creativity and protecting inventors. He understood that the government's role was to create an environment where businesses and individuals could thrive. Evelyn moved on to discuss the concept of taxation and its importance.
For our last question today, let's talk about taxes. Why do we pay taxes to the government? Question: why do we pay taxes to the government? A. To support public services and infrastructure. B. To control the price of goods. C. To reduce the number of businesses.
Answer: A. To support public services and infrastructure.
Correct. Taxes fund essential services such as roads, schools, and emergency services. They also support infrastructure and public programs. Why do you think it's important for citizens to contribute through taxes?
Because taxes make sure that everyone has access to things like schools and roads. They help the government provide services that people need but might not be able to afford on their own. It's a way for everyone to contribute to the community.
Absolutely. Taxes are a way for citizens to contribute to the welfare of society as a whole. They fund services that benefit everyone, creating a foundation for the country's infrastructure and ensuring that essential services are available to all.
As they wrapped up, Diego reflected on the relationship between citizens and the government. He realized that while people had the freedom to pursue their own economic goals, they were also connected through their contributions to public services. Evelyn gathered her notes, offering Diego a final reflection on their discussion.
You've done well today, Diego. Capitalism encourages innovation, while the government plays a role in supporting and regulating the economy. By understanding these principles, you can see how economic policies impact your life and the lives of those around you.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm starting to see how everything connects, how personal choices, government support, and contributions like taxes all come together to support society.
That's exactly right. Citizenship is about participating in the economy, but it's also about supporting the systems that make society work. Keep exploring these connections, and you'll be well prepared for the responsibilities of citizenship.
Diego walked out into the sunlight, reflecting on how the government and economy were interwoven. He realized that as a future citizen, he would play a part in supporting public services and contributing to the nation's growth. The freedom to pursue his own goals and the responsibility to support the community were two sides of the same coin, both essential to a thriving society. As Diego learns about the interaction between the economy and government, Evelyn's insights invite all citizens to consider their role in sustaining public welfare and economic stability.
Now it's your turn. The government plays various roles in supporting the economy and ensuring public services are available. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: what is one way the federal government regulates the economy? A. By setting interest rates. B. By owning all private companies. C. By abolishing all taxes. Understanding the government's role in regulating the economy helps citizens see how policies shape daily life and influence economic stability. Reflect on your answer as it reflects key aspects of the government's responsibilities in the economic sphere.
Path to Citizenship. Part 10. Civic Duties and Responsibilities. Diego walked into the study room for his 10th session with Evelyn, reflecting on the journey he had undertaken. He had learned about American values, rights, the structure of the government, and the economy's role in society. Today, Evelyn planned to explore the duties and responsibilities that came with citizenship. Understanding these obligations was crucial for Diego, as they were a way for him to actively participate in the democratic process. Evelyn welcomed him with a nod and opened her notebook, prepared to guide him through another set of questions.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to talk about the responsibilities and duties that come with being a citizen. These are the ways in which you contribute to society and uphold the principles we've been discussing. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with one of the most fundamental duties. What is one responsibility that is required by law for United States citizens? Question: what is one responsibility that is required by law for United States citizens? A. Voting in all elections. B. Serving on a jury when called. C. Attending town hall meetings.
Answer: B. Serving on a jury when called.
Correct. Serving on a jury is a legal responsibility for U.S. citizens. It's an essential part of the justice system because it allows citizens to participate in making fair judgments. Why do you think this is an important duty?
Because a fair trial requires different perspectives. When people serve on a jury, they help ensure that the person on trial gets a fair hearing. It's a way for ordinary citizens to contribute to justice.
Exactly. Jury duty ensures that the justice system is impartial and that defendants are judged by a group of their peers. It's one of the ways that citizens participate directly in upholding the rule of law and ensuring fairness.
Diego reflected on how jury duty was a way for citizens to engage with the justice system. He appreciated the idea of citizens being directly involved in important decisions. Evelyn moved on to another responsibility that citizens might be called to fulfill.
Next, let's discuss another duty that may be required of citizens in certain situations. In times of crisis, who must register for the Selective Service? Question: in times of crisis, who must register for the Selective Service? A. All male citizens aged 18 to 25. B. All citizens aged 18 to 25. C. Only military personnel.
Answer: A. All male citizens aged 18 to 25.
That's correct. All male citizens aged 18 to 25 are required to register for the Selective Service. This is a way for the government to have a list of potential individuals for military service if there's a national emergency. Why do you think this responsibility exists?
It's a way to make sure that the country has people ready to defend it if necessary. By registering, citizens show that they're willing to support the country if there's a crisis that requires their service.
Precisely. Registering for the Selective Service is a demonstration of readiness and commitment. While there hasn't been a draft in many years, the system ensures that the country can respond quickly if ever needed.
Diego thought about the significance of the Selective Service and the role it played in national security. He realized that even though the draft was unlikely, the responsibility remained an important part of citizenship. Evelyn prepared to move on to a duty that citizens could voluntarily engage in to benefit their communities.
Now, let's discuss a responsibility that is not required but highly encouraged for all citizens. What is one way citizens can participate in their democracy? Question: what is one way citizens can participate in their democracy? A. Obeying all local laws. B. Joining the military. C. Voting in elections.
Answer: C. Voting in elections.
Correct. Voting is a crucial way for citizens to participate in democracy, even though it's not legally required. Why do you think voting is considered such an important responsibility?
Because voting is how citizens can choose their leaders and influence government decisions. It's a way to make sure that the government reflects the will of the people. By voting, citizens can help shape the future.
Absolutely. Voting allows citizens to have a direct impact on government decisions, from local issues to national policies. It's one of the most powerful ways for individuals to contribute to the direction of their country.
As they finished the session, Diego felt a new sense of responsibility toward the country he was soon to join. He understood that citizenship wasn't just about rights, it was about fulfilling duties that helped sustain democracy. Evelyn closed her notebook, offering Diego a thoughtful look.
You've done well today, Diego. Serving on a jury, registering for the Selective Service, and voting are all ways that citizens contribute to the country's well-being. These duties help ensure that the government remains accountable to the people.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I feel like I'm starting to understand what it means to be part of this country. These responsibilities aren't just tasks. They're ways to participate in something bigger.
Exactly. Citizenship is about engaging in the democratic process and supporting the community. You're preparing to take on these responsibilities, and that's an important part of becoming an active member of society.
Diego walked out into the cool evening air, his mind focused on the responsibilities he would soon take on. He felt a deep respect for the civic duties that sustained the country, realizing that as a citizen, he would have a role in preserving and strengthening democracy. With each step, he felt more prepared to embrace the responsibilities that came with citizenship. As Diego considers the civic responsibilities that come with citizenship, Evelyn's reflections resonate with all those committed to supporting their community and democratic values.
Now it's your turn. Civic duties are essential to maintaining a strong and accountable democracy. Here's a question for you to reflect on. Question for the audience: which of the following is a voluntary responsibility that helps strengthen the community? A. Voting in local and national elections. B. Registering for the Selective Service. C. Paying taxes. Participating in these ways helps to ensure that the community remains engaged and resilient. Reflect on your answer, as it highlights the importance of voluntary civic engagement in supporting democracy.
Path to Citizenship. Part 11. Local and State Government. Diego returned for his 11th session with Evelyn, feeling more aware of the depth and complexity of his journey. So far, he had delved into the workings of the federal government, the role of amendments, and the duties of citizens. Today, Evelyn would guide him through the roles of local and state governments. He understood that while the federal government played a significant role, much of what directly impacted citizens happened on a more local level. Evelyn looked up as he entered, ready with a new set of questions that would explore the various layers of government that affected people's daily lives.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to look at local and state government. Understanding how these levels of government work will show you how policies are shaped close to home. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's begin with a question about the roles of state government. What is one power that belongs only to the states? Question: what is one power that belongs only to the states? A. Declaring war. B. Issuing driver's licenses. C. Printing money.
Answer: B. Issuing driver's licenses.
Correct. Issuing driver's licenses is an example of a power reserved for the states. States are responsible for many day-to-day issues that affect their residents. Why do you think it's important for states to have their own powers separate from the federal government?
It lets states make decisions based on what their residents need. Each state can have different priorities, so having their own powers means they can address those specific issues directly. It also keeps the federal government from being too involved in every small detail.
Exactly. State governments have their own powers so they can tailor policies to fit the unique needs of their residents. This allows for flexibility and responsiveness to local issues, ensuring that government is more closely aligned with the people it serves.
Diego considered how the state's autonomy allowed them to address specific concerns, reflecting the diversity of needs across the country. Evelyn moved on, focusing on local government's impact on community life.
Now, let's look at local government. What is one responsibility of local governments? Question: what is one responsibility of local governments? A. Printing money. B. Managing police and fire departments. C. Declaring war.
Answer: B. Managing police and fire departments.
That's right. Local governments handle essential services like police and fire departments, which directly impact community safety. Why do you think these services are managed locally rather than by the state or federal government?
Because each community has specific needs. A city might have different safety concerns than a rural area, so local governments can make sure the services fit those needs. It's a way to make sure people are protected based on their community's unique situation.
Absolutely. Local governments are closer to the people, so they are well positioned to address specific needs in areas like public safety, schools, and infrastructure. This local management allows for tailored responses to community challenges, making government more effective and responsive.
Diego saw how local governments played a crucial role in shaping everyday life. He was beginning to understand that while state and federal policies were significant, it was the local government that often had the most immediate impact on people's daily experiences. Evelyn then moved to discuss the relationship between state and federal governments.
For our last question today, let's talk about the concept of federalism. What is federalism? Question: what is federalism? A system where only the federal government has power. B, a system where powers are shared between national and state governments. C, a system where states are independent from the federal government.
Answer: B. A system where powers are shared between national and state governments.
Correct. Federalism is the division of power between the national and state governments. Why do you think this system is beneficial?
It helps balance power. By dividing it, both the state and federal governments can focus on different responsibilities. It also means that people have more control over government because they can influence decisions at both levels.
Exactly. Federalism allows for a balance of power, ensuring that both the federal and state governments can serve the people's needs while checking each other's authority. It creates multiple layers of governance, which helps prevent any one level from becoming too powerful.
As the session came to a close, Diego felt a newfound respect for the structure of government and how it adapted to serve different communities. He saw how federalism allowed for a diverse approach, with local and state governments addressing specific needs while the federal government provided overarching support. Evelyn put away her notes, sharing some final thoughts with him.
You've done well today, Diego. Local, state, and federal governments each play a distinct role in addressing the needs of citizens. By understanding this, you're better equipped to engage with your community and advocate for what matters to you.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I see now that being a citizen means understanding how each level of government works. They all contribute in different ways, and knowing this helps me see where I can get involved.
That's right. Each level of government impacts your life in unique ways. By staying informed, you can participate more fully in the democratic process and make a difference in your community.
Diego stepped outside, reflecting on how government operated at various levels to address the diverse needs of society. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that as a future citizen, he could engage with all three layers of government to help shape his community and nation. He walked away with a better understanding of how local, state, and federal policies intersected, each playing a role in the tapestry of American governance. As Diego considers the distinct roles of local and state governments, Evelyn's reflections inspire others to think about how they interact with various levels of government.
Now it's your turn. Understanding the different responsibilities at each level of government is essential for every citizen. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: which of the following is typically a responsibility of state governments? A. Printing money. B. Managing public education. C. Declaring war. Recognizing these responsibilities helps citizens see how state governments address specific community needs. Reflect on your answer, as it highlights how different levels of government work together to serve the public.
Path to Citizenship. Part 12. The Importance of Civic Participation. Diego arrived for his 12th session with Evelyn, feeling both excited and reflective. He had come so far in his understanding of American democracy, from the workings of federal and local governments to the rights and duties of citizens. Today, Evelyn planned to discuss the broader concept of civic participation, ways that citizens could contribute beyond just voting or serving on a jury. Diego knew that being a citizen was about more than just individual rights. It was about active involvement in the community. Evelyn was already waiting, her notebook open and ready for another session. She greeted Diego with a smile as he took his seat.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to talk about civic participation. This is about the many ways that citizens contribute to their communities and make a difference. Understanding this will help you see how you can engage more deeply as a citizen. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about one common form of civic participation. What is one way people can directly influence local government? Question: what is one way people can directly influence local government? A. Writing to their state governor. B. Attending city council meetings. C. Serving on the Supreme Court.
Answer: B. Attending city council meetings.
Correct. Attending city council meetings allows citizens to voice their opinions on local issues and stay informed about what's happening in their community. Why do you think attending these meetings can be valuable for citizens?
It gives people a chance to speak up about issues that affect them directly. They can share their ideas and concerns, and they get to hear what others in the community think. It's a way to be involved in decisions that impact everyday life.
Exactly. By participating in city council meetings, citizens can influence local policies and make sure their voices are heard. It's an important way to stay engaged and connected to the decisions that shape the community.
Diego appreciated how attending meetings allowed citizens to take an active role in local governance. Evelyn moved on, discussing another form of participation that extended beyond attending meetings.
Next, let's talk about volunteering. How does volunteering benefit both individuals and their communities? Question: how does volunteering benefit both individuals and their communities? A. It reduces the need for taxes. B. It strengthens community bonds and helps those in need. C. It eliminates the need for government services.
Answer: B. It strengthens community bonds and helps those in need.
That's right. Volunteering builds a sense of community and provides support where it's needed most. Why do you think volunteering is an important aspect of civic participation?
It shows that people care about their community and are willing to give their time to help others. Volunteering can address issues that government programs might not reach, and it helps people feel more connected to each other.
Absolutely. Volunteering not only meets immediate needs, but also creates a stronger, more cohesive community. It allows people to make a direct impact on the lives of others, fostering a sense of responsibility and compassion.
Diego considered how volunteering was a way to contribute beyond voting or attending meetings. He could see how giving time and effort to community projects made a tangible difference. Evelyn then shifted to the idea of public advocacy and its impact on society.
For our final question today, let's talk about public advocacy. What is public advocacy? Question: what is public advocacy? A. Working only within one's own community. B. Promoting and pushing for changes in public policy. C. Serving on a jury.
Answer: B. Promoting and pushing for changes in public policy.
Correct. Public advocacy involves raising awareness about issues and working to influence policies. Why do you think public advocacy is important in a democracy?
Because it allows people to bring attention to issues that might otherwise be ignored. Advocacy helps drive change by showing lawmakers what matters to the people. It's a way for citizens to push for improvements on a larger scale.
Exactly. Public advocacy allows citizens to mobilize, spread awareness, and influence decision-makers. It's a powerful tool in a democracy, enabling people to shape the direction of public policy and contribute to societal progress.
As the session concluded, Diego felt empowered by the ways he could engage with his community beyond the ballot box. He understood that active citizenship involved more than individual actions. It was about collective efforts to create positive change. Evelyn closed her notebook, offering Diego a thoughtful look.
You've done well today, Diego. Civic participation comes in many forms, from attending meetings and volunteering to engaging in public advocacy. Each of these actions helps strengthen democracy and makes a difference in the lives of others.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm realizing that there are so many ways to be involved. I'm excited to find ways to contribute to my community, both locally and beyond.
That's the spirit. By staying engaged and active, you're helping to build a stronger society. Remember, every act of participation helps make the community and the country better for everyone.
Diego left the study room, inspired by the possibilities for active participation in his community. He felt a deeper connection to the idea of citizenship, seeing it as a shared journey that everyone could contribute to. With each step, he was more prepared to embrace the role of a citizen, not just by knowing his rights, but by committing to the responsibilities that came with them. As Diego explores the different ways to participate in civic life, Evelyn's reflections inspire others to think about their own roles in strengthening their communities and supporting democratic principles.
Now it's your turn. Civic participation comes in many forms, all of which contribute to a thriving democracy. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: which of the following is an example of civic participation? A. Donating to a political campaign. B. Watching the news. C. Shopping at local stores. Engaging in civic participation strengthens communities and makes a difference in the democratic process. Reflect on your answer, as each action represents a step toward building a more involved and active citizenry.
Path to Citizenship, Part 13. The Judicial System and Rule of Law. Diego entered the study room for his 13th session, reflecting on how far he had come. He had explored many facets of citizenship, from local government to civic participation. Today, Evelyn would guide him through the American judicial system and the importance of the rule of law. He understood that a fair and impartial judicial system was fundamental to maintaining democracy and protecting citizens' rights. Evelyn was ready, as always, with her notebook open, prepared to delve into the workings of the judiciary and how it upheld justice.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to explore the judicial system and the importance of the rule of law. Understanding this will help you see how justice is upheld and why it's crucial for a functioning democracy. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about the structure of the federal court system. What are the three main levels of federal courts in the United States? Question: what are the three main levels of federal courts in the United States? A. State, federal, and Supreme Courts. B. District, appellate, and Supreme Courts. C. Trial, circuit, and municipal courts.
Answer: B. District, appellate, and Supreme Courts.
Correct. The federal court system consists of district courts, appellate or circuit courts, and the Supreme Court. Each level has its own role in the judicial process. Why do you think having multiple levels of courts is important?
I think it provides a way to review decisions. If someone thinks a lower court made a mistake, they can appeal to a higher court. It's a way to make sure that decisions are fair and that errors can be corrected.
Exactly. The multiple levels of courts ensure that cases are thoroughly reviewed, allowing for appeals and ensuring that justice is served. This layered system helps prevent mistakes and provides multiple opportunities for cases to be examined from different perspectives.
Diego considered how the different court levels worked together to ensure fairness. He appreciated that the judicial system had built-in safeguards to protect individuals. Evelyn moved on, explaining how the rule of law maintained order and accountability.
Now, let's discuss the rule of law. What does the rule of law mean? Question: what does the rule of law mean? A. Laws apply only to citizens, not government officials. B. Everyone, including government officials, must follow the law. C. Only federal laws are enforceable.
Answer: B. Everyone, including government officials, must follow the law.
That's right. The rule of law means that no one is above the law, not even those in positions of power. Why do you think this is essential for a democracy?
Because it ensures that everyone is treated equally. If government officials had special privileges, it could lead to abuse of power. The rule of law holds everyone accountable, so people trust that the system is fair.
Absolutely. The rule of law ensures that all individuals are held to the same standards, preventing abuses of power and promoting trust in the judicial system. It's fundamental for protecting rights and maintaining a fair society.
Diego reflected on how the rule of law was a safeguard against corruption, ensuring that everyone, regardless of status, was subject to the same rules. Evelyn then turned to a crucial concept that helped uphold the rule of law: due process.
For our final question today, let's discuss due process. What is due process? Question: what is due process? A. The right to a speedy trial without a jury. B. The fair application of the law and legal procedures. C. A method for changing government policies.
Answer: B. The fair application of the law and legal procedures.
Correct. Due process ensures that the legal rights of individuals are respected and that everyone is given a fair trial and an opportunity to be heard. Why do you think due process is important?
Because it protects individuals from unfair treatment. If people are accused of something, they should have a chance to defend themselves. Due process makes sure that people aren't punished without evidence or a fair hearing.
Exactly. Due process is a cornerstone of justice, ensuring that everyone receives fair treatment under the law. It prevents arbitrary actions and protects individuals from unjust government actions.
As they wrapped up, Diego felt a deeper understanding of the judicial system and its role in protecting citizens. He realized that justice was more than just punishment. It was a system designed to uphold fairness, equality, and accountability. Evelyn closed her notebook, sharing some final thoughts with him.
You've done well today, Diego. The federal court system, the rule of law, and due process all work together to protect citizens and ensure that justice is served. Understanding these principles helps you see how justice is maintained and why it's so important for a democratic society.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I see now that the judicial system is about more than just enforcing laws. It's about making sure that everyone is treated fairly and that people can trust the system to protect their rights.
Exactly. The judicial system is there to protect the rights of all individuals. By understanding how it works, you're gaining the tools to advocate for fairness and justice as a future citizen.
As Diego left the study room, he felt a newfound respect for the judicial system. He understood that it was a complex but essential part of democracy, ensuring that everyone, from ordinary citizens to government officials, was held accountable. He walked away with a sense of purpose, ready to engage with the principles of fairness and justice as he moved closer to becoming a citizen. As Diego reflects on the judicial system and the rule of law, Evelyn's words extend beyond the room, inviting others to consider their role in upholding justice.
Now it's your turn. Understanding the rule of law and due process is crucial for any citizen. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: what does due process ensure? A. The right to a speedy trial without a jury. B. The fair application of the law and legal procedures. C. A method for changing government policies. Understanding due process helps citizens appreciate the importance of fair treatment under the law. Choose wisely, as this knowledge is essential for recognizing and advocating for justice within a democracy.
Path to Citizenship, Part 14. The Responsibilities and Powers of the President. Diego entered the study room for his 14th session with Evelyn, eager to learn more. He had spent the previous weeks exploring the judicial system, the structure of government, and his own civic duties. Today, Evelyn would guide him through the specific responsibilities and powers of the President of the United States. Diego was eager to understand how the president fit into the overall structure of government and how this role impacted the country. Evelyn welcomed him with a nod as he took his seat, ready to begin the day's discussion.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to explore the role of the president. This position carries unique responsibilities and powers that affect not only the government, but the entire nation. Are you ready to dive in?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about one of the president's key duties. What is one role of the president as outlined in the Constitution? Question: what is one role of the president as outlined in the Constitution? A. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. B. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. C. Speaker of the House.
Answer: B. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
Correct. As Commander-in-Chief, the President has authority over the military. Why do you think this role is significant?
It means the President has the power to make important decisions about national security and the use of military forces. This role allows the President to respond to threats and ensure the safety of the country, but it also comes with a lot of responsibility.
Exactly. Being Commander-in-Chief gives the President significant influence over national defense, but this power is balanced by Congress, which has the authority to declare war and control funding. It's an example of how the Constitution ensures that no single branch has too much power.
Diego thought about the weight of the President's role as Commander-in-Chief, understanding that it required both leadership and restraint. Evelyn moved on, ready to discuss another important responsibility of the President.
Now, let's look at another key responsibility. What is the President's role in the legislative process? Question: What is the President's role in the legislative process? A. Writing laws. B. Vetoing or signing bills into law. C. Voting on bills in the Senate.
Answer: B. Vetoing or signing bills into law.
That's right. The President can either sign a bill to make it a law or veto it to prevent it from becoming law. Why do you think this power is important?
It gives the President a way to influence laws, but it also means that the President can't just create laws alone. By having the power to veto, the President can check Congress if needed, but Congress can also override the veto if they disagree strongly.
Exactly. The President's power to veto provides a check on Congress, while the ability to override the veto ensures that Congress still has the final say. This balance is crucial for maintaining the separation of powers and ensuring that no branch dominates the others.
Diego could see how the President's ability to influence legislation was a key part of the checks and balances system. He appreciated that the President had to work with Congress rather than acting independently. Evelyn then moved on to discuss the President's role on the international stage.
For our last question today, let's talk about the President's role in foreign policy. What is one way the President can influence international relations? Question: What is one way the President can influence international relations? A. Declaring treaties as laws. B. Negotiating and signing treaties with other countries. C. Electing foreign officials.
Answer: B. Negotiating and signing treaties with other countries.
Correct. The President has the power to negotiate treaties, but the Senate must approve them before they can take effect. Why do you think this balance of power is important in foreign relations?
Because it means the President can't make international agreements alone. By requiring Senate approval, there's a check to make sure that the treaty reflects the country's interests. It keeps one person from making all the decisions on international matters.
Exactly. By involving the Senate, the Constitution ensures that treaties are carefully reviewed and agreed upon by representatives of the states. This balance helps protect the country's interests and maintains accountability in foreign policy decisions.
As they concluded the session, Diego felt a deeper understanding of the president's role. He realized that while the president had significant influence, each power came with limits and checks to prevent any single person from holding too much authority. Evelyn closed her notebook, offering Diego a thoughtful reflection on the role of the president.
You've done well today, Diego. The president's roles as commander-in-chief in the legislative process and in foreign policy all come with checks and balances. This ensures that the president serves the people while respecting the limits of power.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I see now that the president's powers are balanced by Congress and the courts. It's a reminder that even the highest office has to work with others.
Exactly. The Constitution carefully designs these roles to protect democracy and prevent abuses of power. By understanding the president's responsibilities, you're gaining insight into how leadership works in a balanced system.
Diego left the study room, reflecting on how the president's powers were woven into a complex system of checks and balances. He felt a renewed appreciation for the Constitution's design, understanding that every branch was there to serve the people while being held accountable. As he walked away, he felt more prepared to embrace the responsibilities of citizenship, knowing how each part of the government played a role in protecting democracy. As Diego considers the checks and balances surrounding the president's powers, Evelyn's insights encourage others to reflect on how this role shapes the nation.
Now it's your turn. The president's responsibilities are broad and impactful, both at home and abroad. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: what is one responsibility of the president related to the judicial branch? A. Appointing federal judges and Supreme Court justices. B. Determining the constitutionality of laws. C. Overseeing the decisions of the Supreme Court. Understanding. This responsibility helps highlight how the president interacts with other branches of government, shaping the judicial system and maintaining a balanced distribution of power. Reflect on your answer, as it illustrates the influence of presidential appointments on the nation's legal landscape.
Path to Citizenship, Part 15. The Role of Congress in Lawmaking. Diego entered the study room for his 15th session with Evelyn, eager to deepen his understanding of the legislative process. Over the previous weeks, he had learned about the judicial system, the president's responsibilities, and how each branch balanced the other. Today, Evelyn would guide him through the workings of Congress, the branch responsible for creating laws. Diego was curious about how Congress operated and how laws were made and revised to reflect the needs of the people. Evelyn greeted him as he took his seat, ready to begin their discussion.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we'll be discussing the role of Congress in lawmaking. This branch has a unique responsibility in creating and shaping the laws that govern the nation. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about the basic structure of Congress. How many senators does each state have in the United States Senate? Question: How many senators does each state have in the United States Senate? A. 1, B. 2, C. 4.
Answer: B. 2.
Correct. Each state has 2 senators, which ensures equal representation in the Senate regardless of the state's population size. Why do you think this equal representation is significant?
It gives smaller states a voice equal to larger states. If representation was based on population alone, bigger states could dominate decisions. But this way, every state has the same say in the Senate.
Exactly. The Senate provides equal representation for each state, balancing the interests of both large and small states. This setup helps ensure that every state has a fair influence over national decisions.
Diego thought about the importance of equal representation, appreciating how it allowed smaller states to have a voice in federal decisions. Evelyn moved on to discuss the role of the House of Representatives, which represented the people more directly.
Now, let's look at the House of Representatives. What determines the number of representatives each state has in the House of Representatives? Question: What determines the number of representatives each state has in the House of Representatives? A. The state's geographical size. B. The state's population. C. The state's age.
Answer: B. The state's population.
That's right. The number of representatives is based on the population of each state. Why do you think representation is based on population in the House?
It ensures that states with more people have more influence. It's a way of making sure that the interests of larger populations are reflected in Congress. It balances out the equal representation in the Senate.
Exactly. Representation based on population ensures that the interests of the people are proportionally represented. This setup allows Congress to balance state equality in the Senate with representation of the people in the House.
Diego saw how the 2 houses of Congress worked together to represent both the states and the people. He realized that this balance helped create laws that considered diverse perspectives. Evelyn continued, moving to the process of how a bill becomes a law.
For our last question today, let's discuss the process of lawmaking. What happens if the president vetoes a bill that Congress has passed? Question: What happens if the president vetoes a bill that Congress has passed? A. The bill is automatically made into law. B. The bill returns to Congress, where they can override the veto with a 2/3 vote. C. The bill is discarded permanently.
Answer: B. The bill returns to Congress, where they can override the veto with a 2/3 vote.
Correct. If the president vetoes a bill, Congress can override the veto with a two-thirds majority in both the House and the Senate. Why do you think this override option is important?
It means that Congress has the final say, as long as there's strong enough support. It ensures that the president can't block a law that has wide approval from the representatives of the people and the states.
Exactly. The override option is a crucial part of the checks and balances system. It prevents the president from having absolute control over legislation, ensuring that Congress can still enact laws with broad support.
As they wrapped up, Diego reflected on the complexity of the lawmaking process. He appreciated how Congress was structured to represent both states and individuals, and how the president's veto power was balanced by Congress's ability to override it. Evelyn closed her notebook, offering Diego a thoughtful reflection on the legislative branch.
You've done well today, Diego. Congress's structure and its role in lawmaking demonstrate how the United States balances representation and power. By understanding this, you're seeing how laws are created with careful consideration and collaboration.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I see now how Congress is designed to make sure all voices are considered. It's reassuring to know that laws aren't just decided by one person or one group.
Exactly. The process ensures that laws reflect a wide range of interests. By learning about Congress, you're gaining insight into the complexities of democracy and how it works to serve the people.
Diego left the study room, reflecting on how laws were crafted and the role Congress played in ensuring balanced representation. He felt a renewed appreciation for the democratic process, understanding that while it could be complex, it was designed to consider the needs of both individuals and states. As he walked away, he felt more prepared to engage as a citizen, ready to support a system that valued both equality and representation. As Diego delves into the workings of Congress, Evelyn's reflections invite others to consider the intricate steps involved in creating laws.
Now it's your turn. Understanding the stages of lawmaking helps citizens grasp how decisions are made. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: who can introduce a bill in Congress? A. Only the President. B. Any member of Congress. C. Only the Speaker of the House. Recognizing who can initiate the legislative process helps citizens see how ideas are brought into the conversation and how representation begins. Reflect on your answer, as it highlights an essential step in shaping national policy.
Path to Citizenship, Part 16, The Role of the Constitution and its Amendments. Diego arrived for his 16th session with Evelyn, excited to explore the principles that formed the foundation of American governance. Today, Evelyn planned to delve into the U.S. Constitution and how its amendments have shaped the nation. Diego was eager to learn about how the Constitution had adapted over time to address new challenges and protect individual rights. Evelyn greeted him as he took his seat, ready with a new set of questions to guide him through the history and significance of the Constitution.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we'll be discussing the Constitution and the role of its amendments in shaping American society. Understanding how the Constitution evolves helps you see how it remains relevant in a changing world. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's begin with a question about the Constitution itself. What is the purpose of the preamble to the Constitution? Question: What is the purpose of the preamble to the Constitution? A. To establish the specific laws of the United States. B. To introduce the Constitution and outline its goals. C. To list the rights of individual states.
Answer: B. To introduce the Constitution and outline its goals.
Correct. The preamble serves as an introduction to the Constitution, summarizing its purpose and goals. Why do you think it's important for the Constitution to begin with a statement of purpose?
It sets the tone for everything that follows. By outlining the goals, the preamble shows that the Constitution is meant to serve the people and establish justice. It provides a framework for what the document is trying to achieve.
Exactly. The preamble presents the core values and intentions of the Constitution, reminding everyone that its purpose is to promote unity, justice, and the general welfare of the people.
Diego reflected on how the preamble set the foundation for the entire document, expressing the vision that guided the United States. Evelyn continued, moving on to the concept of amendments and how they allowed the Constitution to grow.
Now, let's discuss the amendments. What is the process for amending the Constitution? Question: What is the process for amending the Constitution? A. Approval by the President alone. B. Approval by 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states. C. Approval by a national referendum.
Answer: B. Approval by 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states.
That's right. Amending the Constitution requires significant support from both Congress and the states. Why do you think this process is so challenging?
Because it ensures that only changes with broad support are made. If it were easy, the Constitution might change too often and lose its stability. This process makes sure that amendments are carefully considered and widely accepted.
Exactly. The amendment process is intentionally difficult to ensure that only changes with broad consensus are made. This approach protects the Constitution's stability while allowing it to adapt when necessary.
Diego considered how the amendment process balanced the need for change with the importance of stability. He could see how this careful process ensured that the Constitution remained both relevant and enduring. Evelyn moved on to discuss a specific amendment that had significantly shaped American democracy.
For our last question today, let's look at the 19th Amendment. What did the 19th Amendment accomplish? Question: What did the 19th Amendment accomplish? A. It granted African Americans the right to vote. B. It abolished slavery. C. It granted women the right to vote.
Answer: C. It granted women the right to vote.
Correct. The 19th Amendment, ratified in 1920, granted women the right to vote. Why do you think this amendment was so important for democracy?
It expanded the right to vote to half the population. By giving women the right to vote, the amendment made the government more representative and ensured that everyone had a say in the country's future.
Absolutely. The 19th Amendment was a major step toward equality, expanding democracy by including women in the electoral process. It reflected the ongoing commitment to making sure all voices are heard.
As they finished the session, Diego felt a renewed appreciation for how the Constitution had evolved over time to protect rights and promote equality. He understood that each amendment was a reflection of the country's growth and its dedication to justice. Evelyn closed her notebook, offering Diego some final thoughts.
You've done well today, Diego. The Constitution's preamble, its amendment process, and amendments like the 19th all demonstrate how the document balances stability with change. By understanding this, you're seeing how the Constitution protects rights while adapting to new challenges.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm starting to see how the Constitution is not just a set of rules, but a living document that grows with the nation. It's inspiring to see how it has adapted over time.
Exactly. The Constitution provides a foundation, but it also has the flexibility to grow. This adaptability ensures that it can continue to serve the people and uphold their rights in a changing world.
As Diego left the study room, he felt a deeper connection to the Constitution and its role in shaping American society. He understood that being a citizen was not only about following laws but about appreciating the document that protected his rights and freedoms. With each step, he felt more prepared to contribute to the ongoing story of a nation that valued both its roots and its future. As Diego contemplates the evolution of the Constitution, Evelyn's reflections encourage everyone to consider the role of amendments in shaping American rights and freedoms.
Now it's your turn. The amendments are crucial in adapting the Constitution to changing times. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: what did the 13th Amendment accomplish? A. It abolished slavery. B. It granted women the right to vote. C. It allowed for income tax. Understanding the purpose of each amendment helps us see how the Constitution has evolved to reflect the nation's growing commitment to equality and justice. Reflect on your answer, as this knowledge is essential for appreciating the rights protected by the Constitution.
Path to Citizenship. Part 17. Understanding Checks and Balances. Diego arrived for his 17th session with Evelyn, eager to explore how the different branches of government interacted with one another. He had previously learned about the individual roles of the President, Congress, and the judiciary. Today, Evelyn would guide him through the system of checks and balances, which kept each branch accountable to the others. Diego knew that this concept was fundamental to preventing abuses of power and maintaining a stable democracy. Evelyn welcomed him with a smile as he took his seat, prepared to discuss how this system protected citizens and maintained order within the government.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to focus on checks and balances, the system that keeps the branches of government working together while ensuring that no single branch becomes too powerful. Are you ready to dive in?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about how Congress can check the president. How can Congress remove a president from office? Question: how can Congress remove a president from office? A. By overriding a presidential veto. B. By impeachment and conviction. C. By issuing a vote of no confidence.
Answer: B. By impeachment and conviction.
Correct. Congress has the power to impeach and convict a president, which can lead to removal from office. Why do you think this power is important?
It ensures that the president is held accountable. If the president breaks the law or abuses power, Congress can act to protect the country. It's a way to make sure that even the highest office has limits.
Exactly. Impeachment and conviction are essential tools for holding the president accountable. This process helps protect the rule of law and ensures that no one, not even the president, is above it.
Diego considered how impeachment allowed Congress to check the president, ensuring accountability at the highest level. He appreciated that even the most powerful officials were not beyond reproach. Evelyn moved on to discuss how the president could influence Congress.
Now, let's talk about how the president can check Congress. What can the president do to influence a bill passed by Congress? Question: what can the president do to influence a bill passed by Congress? A. Sign the bill to make it law. B. Send it directly to the Supreme Court. C. Cancel the bill without any further steps.
Answer: A. Sign the bill to make it law.
That's right. The president can sign the bill to make it law, or they can veto it to prevent it from becoming law. Why do you think this veto power is significant?
It allows the president to express disagreement with Congress. If the president thinks a bill isn't good for the country, they can veto it. But Congress can still override the veto, so it's a balance between both branches.
Exactly. The veto power gives the president a voice in the legislative process, but it's balanced by Congress's ability to override the veto. This system ensures that both branches have a role in shaping the laws.
Diego reflected on how the president's veto power provided a counterbalance to Congress. He saw how the two branches interacted, each with the ability to influence the other while maintaining its independence. Evelyn then moved on to the judiciary's role in the checks and balances system.
For our last question today, let's discuss the judiciary. How can the Supreme Court check the power of Congress? Question: how can the Supreme Court check the power of Congress? A. By vetoing laws. B. By declaring laws unconstitutional. C. By rewriting laws.
Answer: B. By declaring laws unconstitutional.
Correct. The Supreme Court has the power to declare laws unconstitutional, which can prevent them from being enforced. Why do you think this power is important for maintaining checks and balances?
It makes sure that laws follow the Constitution. If Congress passes a law that goes against constitutional principles, the Supreme Court can step in. This keeps Congress from passing laws that might violate people's rights.
Exactly. Judicial review allows the Supreme Court to uphold the Constitution, acting as a safeguard against any laws that might infringe on individual rights or exceed Congress's authority. This ensures that all laws adhere to constitutional principles.
As they finished the session, Diego felt a renewed appreciation for how the three branches of government worked together. He understood that checks and balances were essential for maintaining democracy and ensuring that each branch remained accountable. Evelyn closed her notebook, sharing some final reflections on their discussion.
You've done well today, Diego. The system of checks and balances ensures that no single branch can dominate the others. By understanding this, you're seeing how democracy is protected through shared power and mutual accountability.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I see now that each branch has a role in keeping the others in line. It's a way to make sure that power is balanced and that citizens' rights are protected.
Exactly. The checks and balances system is there to prevent abuses of power and to protect the Constitution. By learning about this, you're gaining insight into the resilience of the democratic system and its dedication to justice.
Diego left the study room, reflecting on how the branches of government held one another accountable. He appreciated the foresight of the founders in designing a system that could adapt to change while remaining committed to democratic principles. He felt more confident in his understanding of the Constitution and ready to participate in a system that valued balance and fairness. As Diego learns about the interplay between the branches of government, Evelyn's reflections invite others to consider the ways power is balanced and shared.
Now it's your turn. The system of checks and balances is essential for protecting democracy. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: which branch of government has the power to approve appointments made by the president? A. The judicial branch. B. The legislative branch. C. The executive branch. Knowing how these checks work helps citizens understand the collaborative nature of government and how power is shared. Reflect on your answer, as it reveals the importance of cooperation between branches to maintain balance and accountability.
Path to Citizenship, Part 18, The Importance of Voting Rights and Responsibilities. Diego returned for his 18th session with Evelyn, eager to explore a new topic that was deeply relevant to his journey as a future citizen: voting rights and responsibilities. He knew that voting was one of the most direct ways citizens could participate in democracy, but he wanted to understand the history, significance, and responsibilities that came with this right. Today, Evelyn would guide him through the evolution of voting rights and the importance of civic engagement through voting. Evelyn greeted him warmly as he took his seat, ready to discuss one of the most foundational aspects of citizenship.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we're going to discuss voting rights and the responsibilities that come with them. Voting is a powerful way for citizens to influence government, and understanding its history helps us appreciate its importance. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about voting rights history. Which amendment to the Constitution prohibited voting discrimination based on race? Question: which amendment to the Constitution prohibited voting discrimination based on race? A. The 15th Amendment. B. The 19th Amendment. C. The 24th Amendment.
Answer: A. The 15th Amendment.
Correct. The 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, prohibited states from denying the right to vote based on race. Why do you think this amendment was significant for American democracy?
It expanded voting rights to African American men, which was a big step toward equality. Even though it didn't solve everything, it showed that the country was beginning to move toward equal rights for all citizens.
Exactly. The 15th Amendment was a crucial step toward achieving a more inclusive democracy. It was part of a long journey to ensure that all citizens, regardless of race, had a voice in government.
Diego reflected on how the 15th Amendment represented an early victory in the struggle for equality. He appreciated that voting rights had expanded gradually, reflecting the country's growing commitment to inclusion. Evelyn continued, shifting to another key moment in voting rights history.
Now, let's look at another amendment that expanded voting rights. Which amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18? Question: which amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18? A. The 19th Amendment. B. The 24th Amendment. C. The 26th Amendment.
Answer: C. The 26th Amendment.
That's right. The 26th Amendment, ratified in 1971, lowered the voting age to 18, allowing millions of young people to participate in the democratic process. Why do you think this change was made?
Because young people were being drafted to fight in wars, so it seemed fair that they should have a say in government decisions. If you're old enough to serve in the military, you should be old enough to vote on policies that affect you.
Exactly. The 26th Amendment recognized that if young people could be asked to make sacrifices for their country, they should also have the right to vote. This change made democracy more inclusive and reflective of all age groups.
Diego considered how the 26th Amendment empowered younger citizens to participate and influence policies. He saw how voting rights were not static but evolved with the changing needs of society. Evelyn then moved to discuss the responsibility that came with the right to vote.
For our last question today, let's talk about the importance of being an informed voter. Why is it important for citizens to educate themselves about candidates and issues before voting? Question: why is it important for citizens to educate themselves about candidates and issues before voting? A. So they can vote for the candidate with the most advertisements. B. So they can make informed choices that reflect their values and interests. C. So they can follow what their friends are voting for.
Answer: B. So they can make informed choices that reflect their values and interests.
Correct. Being informed helps citizens make decisions that align with their own beliefs and the needs of their community. Why do you think this responsibility is crucial for democracy?
Because voting without understanding can lead to decisions that don't reflect what's best for everyone. If citizens are informed, they're more likely to choose leaders and policies that genuinely help the community and the country.
Exactly. An informed electorate is essential for a healthy democracy. When voters understand the issues and candidates, they can make choices that contribute to a government that truly represents the people's interests.
As they finished the session, Diego felt a renewed sense of responsibility toward voting. He understood that voting was not only a right but a duty that required thoughtful participation. Evelyn closed her notebook, sharing some final reflections on the importance of voting.
You've done well today, Diego. Voting rights have expanded over time, but with these rights come the responsibility to participate thoughtfully. By being informed, you're contributing to a democracy that reflects the will of the people.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I'm starting to see that voting isn't just a right. It's a way to shape the future. It's important to take it seriously and make choices that matter.
Exactly. Voting allows you to have a say in how your country is run. By educating yourself and participating, you're helping to ensure that democracy works for everyone.
Diego left the study room, reflecting on the power of voting and the role he would soon play as a citizen. He felt more prepared to engage thoughtfully in the democratic process, knowing that his choices could influence the direction of the country. With each step, he felt more empowered, ready to embrace his role in shaping the future. As Diego considers the importance of voting and staying informed, Evelyn's reflections encourage everyone to think about their own role in the democratic process.
Now it's your turn. Voting is a fundamental right and responsibility for every citizen. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience: which amendment abolished poll taxes, making it easier for low-income citizens to vote? A. The 15th Amendment. B. The 24th Amendment. C. The 26th Amendment. Understanding how barriers to voting have been removed over time helps us appreciate the ongoing commitment to fair and accessible elections. Reflect on your answer, as this knowledge highlights the importance of equal access to voting for all citizens.
Path to Citizenship. Part 19. The role of political parties in democracy. Diego returned for his 19th session with Evelyn, excited to learn about a new aspect of the political process, the role of political parties. He knew that political parties were a significant part of elections and governance, but he wanted to understand how they shaped democracy and influenced decision-making. Evelyn planned to guide him through the basics of political parties, their functions, and their impact on the electoral process. As Diego took his seat, Evelyn greeted him with a smile, ready to discuss the role of parties in a democratic system.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we'll be exploring political parties and how they contribute to democracy. Understanding their role can help you see how they shape elections and influence policies. Are you ready to dive in?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with a question about what political parties do. What is one main function of political parties in the United States? Question: What is one main function of political parties in the United States? A. To enforce laws. B. To nominate candidates for public office. C. To control the judicial system.
Answer: B. To nominate candidates for public office.
Correct. Political parties nominate candidates for elections and help organize campaigns. Why do you think this role is important in a democracy?
It gives people options. By nominating candidates, parties present different views and policies, so voters can choose the ones that align with their beliefs. It helps voters find candidates that represent their values.
Exactly. Political parties help organize different viewpoints and provide a way for people to connect with candidates who represent their interests. They play a key role in facilitating democratic choices.
Diego thought about how parties provided voters with choices, offering a range of ideas and policies. He understood that parties helped organize elections, making it easier for citizens to engage. Evelyn continued, moving on to how parties influenced government once elections were over.
Now, let's look at how political parties impact government. How do political parties influence the functioning of Congress? Question: How do political parties influence the functioning of Congress? A. By passing laws directly. B. By organizing members with similar ideas to work together. C. By deciding the outcomes of Supreme Court cases.
Answer: B. By organizing members with similar ideas to work together.
That's right. Parties organize members of Congress, allowing them to work together to pass legislation. Why do you think it's helpful for members of Congress to be organized by political party?
It helps them unite around shared goals. If members with similar ideas work together, they can focus on passing laws that align with their values. It also helps citizens understand what the parties stand for.
Exactly. Party organization helps streamline the legislative process, allowing members with common goals to collaborate and advance their agenda. This structure also helps voters see where each party stands on important issues.
Diego could see how parties helped Congress function more efficiently, organizing members around shared ideas and making it easier to understand their positions. Evelyn moved on to discuss how parties provided a connection between voters and their representatives.
For our last question today, let's talk about how political parties help citizens participate in democracy. How do parties connect citizens to their government? Question: how do parties connect citizens to their government? A. By providing a platform for citizens to express their views. B. By restricting who can run for office. C. By only representing people in certain professions.
Answer: A. By providing a platform for citizens to express their views.
Correct. Political parties create platforms that reflect their views on various issues, giving citizens a way to find representatives who share their values. Why do you think this connection is important for democracy?
It helps people feel represented. By aligning with a party, citizens can support candidates who speak for their beliefs and priorities. It makes it easier for voters to influence the government.
Exactly. By offering platforms and aligning with voters' values, political parties help citizens find their voice within the government. This connection empowers voters to make informed choices and advocate for the policies they care about.
As they wrapped up the session, Diego felt a deeper appreciation for the role of political parties in facilitating democracy. He understood that while parties organized elections and government, they also served as a bridge between citizens and their leaders. Evelyn closed her notebook, offering Diego some final reflections.
You've done well today, Diego. Political parties are essential for organizing elections, advancing legislation, and connecting citizens to their representatives. By understanding this, you can see how they contribute to a healthy democracy.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I see now that parties do more than just run campaigns. They help people find candidates who share their values and make it easier to participate.
Exactly. Political parties simplify the democratic process, helping citizens engage more deeply and make choices that reflect their beliefs. By understanding how they work, you're gaining tools to navigate elections and advocate for what matters to you.
Diego left the study room, reflecting on the role of political parties in shaping democracy. He appreciated how they helped organize ideas, influence legislation, and connect citizens to their government. With each step, he felt more prepared to engage in the political process, knowing that his choices were part of a larger system designed to reflect the will of the people. As Diego learns about how political parties shape democracy, Evelyn's reflections encourage others to think about the impact of parties on the political system.
Now it's your turn. Political parties play a crucial role in organizing elections and government. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience. What is one way political parties help voters make decisions during elections? A. By providing clear information about their platforms and candidates. B. By limiting voting to party members only. C. By automatically selecting the best candidate for each voter. Understanding. How parties help inform voters supports active and informed participation in elections. Reflect on your answer, as this knowledge is essential for engaging with democracy and making choices that align with your values.
Path to citizenship. Last part. Embracing citizenship and the path forward. Diego entered the study room for what would be his final session with Evelyn. Over the past sessions, he had explored the foundations of American democracy, the responsibilities of citizenship, and the importance of active participation. Today, Evelyn would guide him through a reflection on his journey, discussing the privileges and responsibilities that came with becoming a U.S. citizen. Diego knew that this was a momentous day, the culmination of all he had learned in a look ahead to what lay beyond. Evelyn greeted him with a smile, sensing the significance of this final lesson as they began their last conversation.
Welcome back, Diego. Today, we'll reflect on the journey you've taken and discuss what it means to fully embrace your new role as a citizen. Understanding the privileges and responsibilities you carry forward will help you be an active and engaged member of your community. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Good. Let's start by considering what citizenship means. What is one privilege that only U.S. citizens have? Question: what is one privilege that only U.S. citizens have? A. Voting in federal elections. B. Working for any company in the United States. C. Attending public schools.
Answer: A. Voting in federal elections.
Correct. Only citizens have the right to vote in federal elections, giving them a direct voice in shaping the government. Why do you think this privilege is so significant?
It's a way for citizens to choose their leaders and influence the direction of the country. By voting, citizens help ensure that the government reflects their values and needs.
Exactly. Voting is a powerful privilege that allows citizens to hold their leaders accountable and participate in the democratic process. It's one of the most direct ways you can shape the nation's future.
Diego thought about the importance of voting and the impact it had on shaping policies and leadership. He appreciated the weight of this responsibility as he looked forward to his role as a citizen. Evelyn continued, reflecting on another key aspect of citizenship.
Now, let's talk about responsibilities. What is one responsibility that U.S. citizens are encouraged to fulfill, even if it's not required by law? Question: what is one responsibility that U.S. citizens are encouraged to fulfill, even if it's not required by law? A. Paying taxes. B. Voting in elections. C. serving on a jury.
Answer. B. Voting in elections.
That's right. While it's not required by law, voting is a civic responsibility that citizens are encouraged to fulfill. Why do you think this responsibility is so important?
Because it helps ensure that everyone's voice is heard. By voting, citizens can influence policies and decisions that affect their lives. It's a way to make sure that the government is truly for the people.
Absolutely. Voting is a civic duty that ensures the government remains representative of the people. By fulfilling this responsibility, citizens help strengthen democracy and advocate for the issues that matter to them.
Diego reflected on the significance of voting as both a right and a responsibility. He understood that as a citizen, he would have a role in guiding the country's direction and contributing to its future. Evelyn moved on to the final aspect of their discussion, the role of citizenship in the community and beyond.
For our last question, let's think about how citizenship extends beyond rights and responsibilities. How can U.S. citizens contribute to their communities? Question: how can U.S. citizens contribute to their communities? A. By only following laws. B. By volunteering, participating in local government, and supporting local initiatives. C. By remaining informed only about national issues.
Answer. B. By volunteering, participating in local government, and supporting local initiatives.
Correct. Citizenship isn't just about voting or following laws. It's about being an active member of the community. Why do you think contributing locally is important?
Because local actions can have a big impact. By helping in my community, I can make a difference in people's lives. It's a way to give back and create positive change where I live.
Exactly. By engaging in local activities, citizens can directly influence their surroundings, support their neighbors, and build stronger, more connected communities. It's a powerful way to make a meaningful impact.
As they concluded their final session, Diego felt a sense of pride and purpose. He realized that becoming a citizen was not just about understanding the system but also about contributing to it actively. Evelyn closed her notebook for the last time, offering Diego some final reflections on his journey.
You've done incredibly well, Diego. You've explored every aspect of what it means to be a citizen, from voting and civic responsibilities to community involvement. By understanding these roles, you're prepared to make a positive impact on your country and your community.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I feel ready to take on these responsibilities. I see now that citizenship is not just about rights, but about what I can give back.
Exactly. Citizenship is about embracing both the privileges and the duties, working to make your community and your country a better place. You're ready, Diego, and I know you'll make a wonderful citizen.
Diego stepped outside, the weight of his journey behind him but the promise of a new path ahead. He felt ready to embrace his role in the community and to participate fully in the democratic process. As he walked away, he knew that becoming a citizen was not the end, but a beginning, an opportunity to contribute to something larger than himself, with each step bringing him closer to making a lasting impact. As Diego reflects on the role of an engaged citizen, Evelyn's insights encourage everyone to think about how they can make a difference in their own communities.
Now it's your turn. Active citizenship involves participating in ways that build a stronger community. Here's a question for you. Question for the audience. What is one way citizens can stay informed and involved in their local government? A. By attending town hall meetings. B. By relying solely on social media. C. By ignoring local issues and focusing only on national news. Staying informed at the local level helps citizens engage with issues that directly impact their communities. Reflect on your answer, as this knowledge is key to creating positive change and fostering a connected, resilient community.